everybody. Guess what today is? Today is Good Friday. There's a reason that it's called Good Friday, and that's because Friday's good.
That's right. TGI Friday.
TGIF.
The first full Friday of spring, the first full day of spring.
I know.
It's beautiful.
And a full moon.
And a full moon. That's another Good Friday.
And
right
a
there.
spring equinox.
You know who's killed on Good Friday?
Could it be my brother?
Abraham Lincoln, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I guess you're wondering who this is. Anybody know who this is? This is Jenny Bowen. Does anybody know who Jenny Bowen is?
Hopefully some people out there. I've only met about 350 of you in the past, month, so 3 months.
Could you do me a favor and check to make sure her,
Is my mic working?
Yes, it is on.
Well, you know what's even worse? I forgot to light my candles.
Oh, dear.
I know. Chris, do you have a lighter? I mean, we can't start without lighting the candles.
No,
It's like
Can you hear me?
Chris, can you hear Jenny?
Will you light the candle while Julie,
Yeah. Does anybody want to know who's working the cameras? This is who's working the cameras. This is who's working the sound. This is Brother Christopher. And we have three matches. Do you think that we can light 3 candles with 3 matches? How talented do you think that we are? Ooh, you got that, what's that sound? A photo documentary, and I think that it's really cool what she's doing, and I had gotten to meet her, and that's how I got to meet her. Are you guys wondering why I have the bunny ears? Well, see, I figured that this is about as close to being a bunny as I'm ever going to get. So today I am the bunny in the basket. That's what I figured I'm going to be. And then John asked me if I was going to sit in my basket. And, that was a pretty cool idea, but I didn't even think of it. So I don't think that they sell, well, yeah, I guess they sell baskets in extra large. Okay, well, next time, sorry. But yeah, it's really interesting. Today is Good Friday, and today in the religious Christian holiday, it's the day that Jesus Christ was crucified. And Easter, which we celebrate on Sunday, is the day that he arose from the dead. But don't get that confused with the Easter bunny. And see, that's something that I couldn't understand. As Christians, we're taught not to lie, and it's like, well, why are we going to lie and tell the kids that the Easter bunny is coming?
Yeah, and that it lays eggs.
Right.
It's a mammal.
Well, do you know
of
why?
Chocolate, by the way.
Do you know why it's the eggs at this time of the year?
Well, it all goes back to pagan traditions.
No, pagan. You
Christmas?
mean
What?
they practice pagan traditions?
It's all about the spring equinox. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess one of the things that I always kind of how I view Easter as I've grown older. I was raised Catholic, so. There's a lot of dogmas that I had to shed throughout my adolescence and come into my own understanding. But I guess Jesus had a lot of really great philosophies. He had a lot of great teachings. Mm-hmm. He was a Buddha in his own right, obviously.
Right.
But I think perhaps it's the 3 days of mourning, and then it's the day of bringing that person back to life in your own spiritual self. Mm-hmm. So maybe they just got that confused. Maybe the message somehow didn't get passed somewhere, through 2,000 years of patriarchal.
They're again looking back at, and could they really be honest in what it was all about without fear of being crucified? Why did they crucify the Christ? Who were the ones who were responsible for crucifixion of him? The church?
The Romans, yeah. Oh. I mean, the Holy Roman Empire.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're coming into a new age.
Oh, most definitely.
And hopefully in that age, we're going to lose a lot of our dogmas. We're going to lose a lot of those principles that have taught us that we're separate, that we aren't the same human essence, and that spirituality transcends, Holy Roman empires and Chinese dogmas and Tibetan dogmas and Indian dogmas and all those principles. It's more about understanding that we're all connected.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think that that's a big part of what you're doing. When I had first met Jenny, I didn't realize exactly what all that she was doing. It's like, oh, well, I guess that's not yours, and I guess this is a paper I need to sign. And but when I had met Jenny, it's like, I just thought that she was doing this photo documentary, and I really didn't know exactly what all it entailed. And when I had met you and you told me what all it was like, ooh, really, really cool. And I look forward to working with Jenny more so in the future. And would you like to tell?
Definitely. Can I ask you a question real quick? How's your potluck coming?
Well, I just got a note back from Guinness, and I guess that they were waiting for the publicity of, and they had said no, that they didn't think that would fit into a category or whatever, but not saying that they wouldn't consider it
in the future.
Right. So I figured, well, if we work together, then why don't we practice?
Right. That'd be great.
For and it's like, okay, instead of this year, then let's do it for 2009.
Yeah, definitely, and that gives us enough time
A
to
whole
really
year
get
to-
it going.
Yep.
Get it going. I think I read your letter in the Mountain Express, and I was like, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
which one was that?
It was the one that just came out recently about the potluck and about getting it. Was it you? Did you write that, or was that somebody else? There was an article. There was a letter. If it wasn't this, it was last week. It was about the potluck.
Oh, was it about the psychic?
I can't remember.
Oh, interesting. I've been I've been on a faster track lately, so I haven't had a chance to sit down and read the Mountain Express. I mean, I do like the Mountain Express, which is a local newspaper here in Asheville, and it's also online. Mountain Express.
Mountain X.
Yeah.
MountainX.com. Yeah, and that's how I read it. I only read it.
Oh, do you online?
On the online form.
Yeah, I go to the library, so it's like limited in what I can do, and
Right.
I've been trying to upload an addiction show. I had done 2 shows, one before Christmas and one after Christmas on addiction. And the first one, it was like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Jenny's in the green. And it was just one of those shows that, oh, this is never going to go on the air. And then the next week, or a couple of weeks later, we'd done another show, so it was Addiction 2. And that show is up, going on 1,900 views since January 10th. And it's like people are really looking for, what is an addiction? What does it mean? Okay, well, if I am, then what do I do about it?
Right.
So I wanted to put, one up, and I've been going to the library, and I was like, oh, twice now, at least 6 hours trying to upload this. And it's just not going, and I was talking to the girl who had done, number 2, and, she'd like to do it again, because that's a biggie. I mean, people are looking for answers.
Everybody has an addiction. Everybody.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Whatever that addiction might be is the question. And how dangerous of an addiction does it become?
Yeah, I swear sugar's the gateway drug, and I had, I don't know how many of you have been following us, and every New Year we make these resolutions, and I started before, and I quit drinking soda, and I quit eating sweets, and I don't remember when I had that first one, but How's
it coming?
No. I had a sugar fix,
See?
And it's so, that is my, sugar is the gateway drug, I just,
Coffee was really bad for me for a while.
Yeah.
Sugar was really bad for me. I'm actually see how I do it is I don't say I'm not allowed no sugar. I don't give myself that constraint, but I'm like, if I have a sugar fix, if I'm having that craving, I'll have a piece of dark chocolate or something just to get me over that. But I'm not going to binge, and I'm going to, unless I'm having that intense craving where, I can't focus on anything else, have it, move on.
Yeah.
And then, just stay off of it unless you're in that kind of tight spot where...
Oh, I've got that'll be somebody that I'll be looking for, because, they talk about with addictions that it's but a symptom of our underlying emotional defects. And it's like, well, obviously I still have an emotional defect. Only one?
I was going to say, it's also physical, too. I mean, when you get addicted to caffeine or sugar, your body changes, your metabolism changes to want those things, to not be able to it takes a period of time of adjustment to get past it. So.
Oh yeah, well I'm constantly working on it, but I'm not going to kick my butt. I still have a whole wardrobe of size 10 in my closet, and I haven't quite gotten it into my mind that I really don't want to buy any fat clothes, but I'm outgrowing my clothes, so it's like I have to do something. I mean, I'm getting to the point where,
right,
and that's that thing about with
have you thought about this is just something I went last night to the Twin. The YWCA every year honors some women who are outstanding leaders in the community,
right,
and outstanding models of women in the Asheville area. And I got to be lucky enough to be a photographer at the event last night. And there are just some amazing women in our community. First of all, I think there's a lot of change that's happening right now as far as addressing race and women in leadership, and put the conversations out there. But anyways, the YWCA is a fantastic resource. It's one of the best places in Asheville. I highly suggest it to anybody who's looking for a way to connect with other women, to exercise. They've got a daycare program for mothers so that you can leave and it's free, so you can leave your kid to play with other children. You can go exercise, take a class, come back.
Wow, things have changed.
Yeah, it's outstanding. It is outstanding.
That's cool. I used to dive a long time ago. A long time ago, I used to do that stuff.
But time's hard.
Yeah, but you are correct, and there are a lot of people. And yes, it's been decided that we're gonna do it again next year or this year. We're season 2. It's like we're watching the red lights for the cameras.
Okay.
Which cameras? It's like that camera. Anyhow, we are going to do a season 2, so we are going to be looking for some more guests. And John Madden, I didn't get to have him on when he was scheduled. My car broke down. I guess you were wondering why you got a repeat last week, and that's what it was. I'm on my way here, and my car just shuts off, and I glided right on into a parking lot at Lowe's, and that's where it's sat, and it's still not completely fixed. It's I never know when it's going to shut off on me. So, I've been lucky when I've been driving twice and it shut off and, glided in. And
have you figured out what the problem is?
I'm not quite sure. They replaced the fuel pump, but there's some electrical wires.
I was going to say, what kind of car is it?
It's a Volvo.
It's a Volvo. I've heard about Subarus doing that, but not Volvos.
Yeah, well, the wiring, I got the liquid tape to tape the bare wires. Before he puts in, there's 2 fuel pumps, so he replaced the easy one. And it's like, okay, well, we might need to do the other one, and, that's probably what it's going to be. Let me hurry up and get this off my desk, too. I had Michael Collins here last week. He's out there at the Bread of Life in Brevard, and they are doing an empty bowl project, and they're having a soup lunch to benefit the Bread of Life, and it's on Saturday, April 5th from 11 to 2. It's at the First United Methodist Church in Brevard. And it's $15 for lunch and the handmade bowl of your choice, and $5 for lunch only. And the bowls are made by a bunch of local artists, and this is one of them. This is from Mud Daubers. These guys are really cool. I was out there at their shop, and I'm going to be bringing some more photos of them later on too. But Jenny had brought some photos of her own. Whenever Brother Chris can cue them up there, Jenny can tell more about them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, okay, I'll start talking a little bit about the project. So, I've lived in Asheville since 1993, and at that time, downtown was dilapidated on some levels, on many levels. You didn't go downtown in the daytime unless you were going to see a lawyer. You didn't go downtown in the nighttime unless you were going to do something illegal.
Oh, really?
That would cause you to go to a lawyer.
10 years ago?
Yeah, about 10, 15 years ago.
Wow.
It was literally, actually, where I'm living at now, my house, after I got burglarized, which is part of the project's story and charm, the police came and they were like, we busted this house about 10 years back because of, prostitutes and hookers and crack dealers. And so it was...
you were known. Your house was known better than you were.
It's definitely... Asheville's done really well catering to a tourist class in order to revitalize our downtown. And I think that is important, that we were able to create a very cosmopolitan downtown that's beautiful, that attracts a lot of interesting people from all over, that we can enjoy ourselves on different levels as well. You know, everything from Rosetta's to the marketplace to all kinds of a scale of restaurants.
Diversity.
But
Here comes your first page.
okay.
Oh, okay.
This is Amanda. She works at Sam's Club, and she is an outstanding photographer herself, of her own. And I met her, and I talked to her. I was like, you know, if you're a photographer, come in. She does a lot of film photography, which film photography is becoming, you know, quite an enchanting vintage antiquity of its own. And I was a film photographer for about 10 years before I switched over to digital about 2 years ago. So she identified herself with her camera, that she as well as a photographer put herself behind the camera and in front of the camera. So anyways, I live in Asheville for about, 12 years, and I watch Asheville transform itself and come into this much better state of downtown atmosphere, turning itself into a really popular tourist destination and place for second homes and retirees and artists and all that business. Well, so I leave after I graduate from college. I graduate from UNCA, and I go and do the AmeriCorps. And I end up in a very shoddy situation, end up living in the ghetto. And by ghetto, I mean like any rap song lyric is applicable to the state of this. This is Anna Borum. She is... she works at One Who Serves, and I met her through Toastmasters, but she is...
Oh, cool.
She brought with her journal, and that's how she identified herself, as her written thoughts. She writes down a lot of her thoughts. That's how she processes, you know, her thinking patterns. And so everything that she encompasses in her mind is in that little notebook. So that's what she brought with her to share. And she's just an outstanding personality, very a radiant person, just really. You see her, and she just kind of lights up everybody around her. So... But so I live in the ghetto, which is completely different from the Asheville that I know, from this little white, suburban, kind of nice, safe culture. And I come back.
This was where?
This is Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh, where my first son was born?
Is ours your first? When was he born there?
79.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I guess what happened was the Reading Railroad used to traffic a lot of organized crime goods between Baltimore and Philly and New York.
Right.
And in the 70s, I guess the Reading Railroad was privatized. And so what happened is that organized crime left, but really it just left the crime and took the organization with it.
Right.
So you had like the black fraction and the Latina fraction and the Asian fraction and the white fraction, and they're all vying for their own little parts of the city. And it was the third most dangerous city in America.
Really?
The city, per capita.
Wow.
This is a local celebrity of ours. This is Artemis Pyle.
Oh, wow.
He is one of the surviving members of Leonard Skinner. He was on the plane that crashed. He broke his collarbone. With his Marine background, he was able to run and go get help. And unfortunately, many of the other band members perished on that flight.
Right.
But he's still a great musician, very talented, and a really charming fellow. It was a real pleasure to meet him.
And he's a local?
Him and his wife, who does Leaf. She's one of the people who does Leaf in Schools. Carrie Hampton Pyle, who I have a picture of her on here as well. But so they came, and it was really cool because they contacted me, and they were my first kind of celebrity to kind of contact me that they wanted to be a part of it. And I was so
that's cool.
nervous, but he's such a charming guy. He's like a big teddy bear.
Yeah.
And I think his son Grandpappy works downtown, and he's a talented artist of his own. So Artemis is a real great guy. I just can't say enough good things about him. And so what he brought with him is his drum key. Because he's a drummer, so that's how he identified himself. So
way cool. Yeah, well, I'm hoping that I got his wife, because I was like, okay, running out of time, quick.
Yeah, well, we'll see
if I don't have them all, then maybe we can see if Chris can add a couple more later.
But yeah, so that's Artemis, and he's a real, just a gentleman, a true Southern gentleman. So
yeah, go back to.
I come back from Reading, Pennsylvania, which is just dangerous and awful, and I end up homeless there. I lose my AmeriCorps job because I had a a run-in with an undercover cop. I bought a 20-year-old a beer, and in buying that 20-year-old a beer, an undercover cop busted us, and I lost my job in AmeriCorps, and I got put on parole, so I couldn't leave the city. And so by losing my job, I also lost my housing because that was provided through the
one of those
AmeriCorps.
life-changing.
It was just like everything changed within 48 hours. Boom, you're like, you know, mid-level, you're getting along, you're struggling, and then, you know, you work in AmeriCorps for a stipend of $300 a month. There's no way to save anything, and so I'm literally out on my own. All I got is my car, and so I'm living on the streets. And then I found a really sweet guy. He took me in, and now he's my best friend. And he actually moved up to Asheville in October, and he's now my roommate. And he's
cool.
Yeah, you know, it's how connections work.
And that's you know,
life.
if it didn't play out, and a lot of us, you know, we choose not to look at that part of, and we look at, you know, oh, it was bad, it was bad, it was bad, not realizing that out of bad there's always good. We just have to look for it.
It was probably the most positive experience in my life, to be honest with you. I mean, there was times where it was really destitute and forlorn, but at the same time, you know, I learned to see people as people, despite whatever their socioeconomic, racial, gender background. Everybody has an addiction. Everybody suffers. Everybody is in the human condition. Everybody has despair, but everybody has joys. Everybody has talents. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has hopes.
But most of us feel so alone. We don't understand that we're not alone.
You're never alone, and you can find any person anywhere in the world and have something in common with them at any time. So that was just it was a really positive experience. It got me to break out of that shell of understanding what it is to be an individual in the global age, of understanding that we really are all connected.
Yeah. Well, I feel that there is great wisdom and knowledge when we do walk amongst those who choose that path.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it really enlightens us. You know, because before then we judge.
That's right.
You know, I mean, I think both of us can, you know, say that, yeah, we have judged those who we saw as less than until we were in their shoes, and only then could we understand it.
Right, exactly.
The full knowledge of it.
And to learn that you really don't have the right to judge anyone for their decisions and their choices. They made them for whatever purposes, and you will never be able to understand their perspective. Exactly. This is Hope Reinhardt. She's a local poet and arts advocate. She's holding in her hand a self-published book of poetry from the area of local artists. And I really like this picture because it makes her look so innocent. She's also really good at looking a lot snazzier, but because her name is Hope, and that's something I really believe in is the essence of hope. It's hope of being one of the things that can keep you going through the darkest days. And so I kind of tried to give her that atmosphere of being a very hopeful, enlightened kind of spirit. So that's the, anyway. So I come back to Asheville after I'm finally convicted and all this business happens, and I come back to Asheville and I'm forced to live in my parents' basement, which was almost worse than living in the ghetto.
Well, I mean, I lived in my parents' basement until I was 18.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of the when I was finally convicted. They said, you know, you have to live at your permanent address, which was my parents' address, for a year and be on probation.
For a year?
And be on probation.
Whoa, they really came down on you hard, didn't they?
Yeah, they couldn't keep me in Reading because I was not a Pennsylvanian citizen. So they sent me back to my permanent address. And this is June Gregory, and you can't see it; it's a little zoomed in here, but she has in her hand a little turquoise hippo, and it was just.
Is that what it was? Because I was trying to fit them all in.
Yeah, it's a turquoise hippo.
But her face was so.
She's got a beautiful, captivating face.
Yeah, most definitely.
She's definitely one of those creative souls of Asheville that make Asheville so eclectified.
That's it. But her light radiates out.
Definitely. So I come back to Asheville. I'm living in my parents' basement. I'm working downtown Asheville, $7 an hour, 3 jobs, 7 days a week. For a year I do this, and I can't get a decent job in Asheville. I can't find affordable housing in Asheville. I start getting really down about Asheville. My friends and I start talking about, well, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it we can't find a job that pays $10 an hour? You know, we're college graduates. We deserve to be able to pay off our student loans. Why can't I find an affordable house anywhere within, 40 minutes of Asheville to purchase or to even rent? So I start seeing it, learning my lessons from writing. It's not about classifying people. My friends are like, oh, it's the Californians' fault. It's the New Yorkers' fault. It's the Floridians' fault. It's no, you can't do that. You cannot classify people because some of my best friends happen to be New Yorkers, Floridians, and Californians. It's not. It's not that. That state.
The blame instead of looking for who or what to blame.
Right. Instead of taking ownership of the problem, it's just complaining.
Right.
And that does nothing positive. That doesn't move any progress.
It only focuses on the problem.
It only focuses on the negative. And I think you have to, in order to have true solution, in order to have problem-solving skills, you have to identify the problem, which is the complaining aspect. And then you have to take ownership of the problem and say, okay, what is the problem? What's causing the problem? What are the issues? And how can we move forward? How can we take ownership of the solution now? How can we start brainstorming creative ways to address the situation? So I decided to start finding out who the people were who were moving here. Who are the citizens of Asheville? Who are the people of Asheville? And so I just, I set up a little home studio. I have this extra spare room in my house. It's very tiny. This is River. This is Artemis and Carrie's son. And he brought with him, he's a child of the digital age. He brought with him this little techno gadget, which had internet, it had games, it had all kinds of business. And, it's about the size of a Palm Pilot. And he just kept showing me Mario Brothers. And I was like, I played Mario Brothers, 20 years ago. So I could identify him still on that scale that it hasn't changed that much. But it definitely says something about the future generations that are coming along about how they're already
I thought
connected.
that was so cool that, in going through and picking pictures, very quickly, I thought it was cool. I tried to get a mix of, and it was like, wow, you have a bunch of kids in here. That's so cool.
I think kids are really important.
They are.
That's one of the things is, this is Rick Fornoff. Rick Fornoff, again, I met through Toastmasters. He's a wonderful public speaker. He's outstanding. He's actually, I think, starting his own public speaking business. And you can't really see it, but in his hand, he's got this really interesting silver gadget, and he's a puzzle master. He travels the world and gets puzzles from around the world that are complex, and he's that kind of a guy who likes to figure out the puzzle, taking ownership of the solution, trying to figure out that solution. So creative problem solvers. So I come back to Asheville. I start up this home studio, and I start pulling people in off the street. I start saying, I put it out there. I'm like, the month of July, I'm going to start taking pictures of everybody that I can get. And the goal is at least...
Now, this was last July?
This was this past July.
Okay, 2007.
This was 2007. And I say the goal is 100, but the last day I'm taking pictures is July 31st. And I end up getting 111 people signed up.
Wow.
And at 108, my home was burglarized.
Wow.
And somebody broke in through the side door of the house, which is where the studio was, and in that process knocked over the backdrop, which knocked over the lights, broke all the lights, tore the backdrop. They went inside, they stole the camera, they stole the hard drive that all the pictures were on. And, it's just kind of, my roommate calls me, he's like, Jen, the house has been burglarized. And I was like, oh my God, take anything you want, just don't take the camera and the hard drive out, hours and hours and hours of work and passion and dedication, because it's all me going on my own. It's just like this anthropology project of trying to figure out what is Asheville, what is the zeitgeist of Asheville, what is this moment that's happening. And I feel like we're in a period of exponential change here in Asheville. I feel like the world is in a period of exponential change. A lot is coming at us. A lot is, with the global technology, we are the first generation that has the ability, I'm saying we as in like the millennials, the people who are born during the Reagan era. They are the first generation to have the ability to be connected to anyone on this planet at any time. We are the first generation to really have the capability to eradicate world hunger. We can eradicate almost any disease that we put our mind to. We have
the technology.
Yeah, we have technology. We have the technology. We can rebuild.
Right.
So we have that power. It's can we harness it and harness it for good?
Right. It's will corporate allow this to happen?
Right.
Because I feel that corporate is really responsible for a lot of the suppression,
the issues of this world.
Yeah,
it's a sense of capitalism of understanding that value is not necessarily money.
Oh, that's when I was in corporate. That's what really disgusted me was the how much profit is in it for me,
right?
Not what the benefit to society it could be. but it was all the selfish part of. Did you want to?
This is Nicholas Morrison. He's a salsa dancer, and so he actually got his picture taken again. And so I'm going to use the second picture in the Faces of Asheville exhibit, but I'm going to hopefully compile a book over the next year, and so I'll include both of his portraits in there. So you can kind of see how certain people grow and change just over a 6 to 7 month period, because it's amazing. I'll meet kids that came back for their second portrait, and I'm like, you've grown 4 inches since last I saw you. I met you when you were this high. So, but Nicholas is a salsa dancer, so he wanted to bring with him his sense of movement. So we were playing salsa music, and he was dancing, and I was taking his picture while he was dancing.
Oh,
and
wow.
so that's where this
a great shot.
image is coming from.
That
But
is
he's
very
a
cool.
he's a real pleasure and a joy. He really is. So, anyways, the burglary happened, and for about 20 minutes, I had this sense of despair, this sense of like, oh my God, what has been taken from me? And then I said, you know what? It wasn't the most valuable thing. They didn't take the memories. They didn't take what I've learned. They didn't take the experience of meeting 108 outstanding people. The project started off with this ginormous party. I just put it out there to the world on MySpace and on the internet and on Craigslist, and I said, hey, we're going to start off this project, and I don't care if I know you or not. Come, it's a potluck. Introduce yourself, and let's just enjoy it. And the conversations that started that day.
Now, which day was this? What day was
This
that?
was July 1st. This was,
That's when you had a potluck dinner.
I had a potluck. It was a potluck. It was all day. I was
And
like,
how many people?
It was probably 75 people showed up throughout the whole day. Now, not everybody got their picture taken,
Right.
But a lot of the people, like Duvet and Lady Passion, they came, and that is the day that they decided to start protesting the magnolia
for the
tree.
magnolia,
That conversation came out of that party, and so
Cool.
I mean, there was tons of friendships that were developed throughout the process of this, and I said, you know, that is the value that cannot be taken away from me.
Right.
The burglary can't take those things. So. Anyways, for 3 days, I gestated on it, because I in any time of mourning or loss, I always give it 3 days. That's just kind of my rule.
Well, that's kind of the
So
three days
there you
is
go,
a
and
lot.
it's Good Friday, so 3
That's
days.
it.
So so for 3 days, I sat and I thought on it, and I said, you know, I have the option to either let it go, or I have the option to start over. And I said, you know, I just feel like it's too important. I feel like too many issues came out of this. Too many people from the community came forward and said, you know, this is what I love about Asheville, and this is what drives me crazy, and this is
Right.
what isn't being listened to,
Right.
and this is what the developers are doing, and this is how they're destroying that which we love, and that's what we
Right.
came here for. This is J.J. Jackson, which I'm sure many of the
We
URTV
see
people
around
know.
here,
Yeah, he's a real advocate of URTV. He's just he is a friend I made through Faces of Asheville. Now we're really good friends.
Cool.
Didn't know him before the project, and he brought with him a Holga camera, which is like this little plastic camera. It's a very antiquity type of thing that only enthusiasts really enjoy. And his coffee, and he brought a shirt that says "Sushi in the Sky with Diamonds" because he loves sushi and he loves the Beatles.
Oh, cool.
So it's one of my favorite pictures that I took from the first round.
Well, you know, when you had first told me that it only took you 20 minutes to get over the burglary, I mean, that is a lesson in itself.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, they will hold on to that and the despair and the agony and the defeat, and it's like everything's lost, everything's gone, and they would give up.
Yeah, I immediately had.
You mean
forgiveness
act like
after
children?
20 minutes.
That was a voice from the Peanut Gallery?
Yeah. I
What
said
was
like
it?
act like children.
Act like children?
Act
Yeah,
like children.
a lot of
Oh,
people
like throw
when they
temper
lose
tantrums.
things, they act like little children.
Oh, I don't know. I think I might yell and scream, or Yeah.
I broke down in tears once for
Did
about
ya?
5 seconds. That was only when I talked to my parents, because my parents have a way of like putting the guilt on. Well, why didn't you?
Yeah,
Why don't you have runner's
yeah.
insurance? Don't make me feel awful.
Oh, yeah, don't make me
please.
feel worse than I already
I know.
do.
I don't have runner's insurance. Thank you very much for pointing that out. I do now. So, but yeah, that was the only point where I broke down in tears.
And this is?
This is Prism Moon. He and his sister partook in it, and he's adorable, 8-year-old adorable. And he brought with him his favorite little techno transformer-esque toy. And he's, he just has that great. Literally, this kid is just always high, always just very smiling and enjoyable.
Yeah.
The epitome of what kids should be.
Cool.
So
Look at the sparkle that's coming out of his eyes.
yeah, he's just him and his sister, and if you see a picture of his sister up here in a second, Aurora Moon, she's just a doll and a half. She's got these beautiful Goldilocks and
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I had gotten her.
No
We
worries.
might have to get Krista to see if you can find her on there. Aurora Moon on that CD that she had given.
How will it be listed? Aurora Moon or?
I think they're under there by name. So
Yeah.
I'll try to see.
I didn't
Yeah.
go in order when I had put them up. I was hopping around, so it's like if you get to the end of that.
this is oh my goodness gracious, Ronnie Beats. And Ronnie, I love this picture of Ronnie because, and he did come back and get his picture taken again for the second go around, but he is a fantastic artist. And it's really funny, we connected on Craigslist about 3 days before he read my Craigslist posting, asking for people to participate. So it was like meant that we were supposed to meet each other. But he's a great artist. He really is. He's very talented. He's young, so he's still developing like his formal style, but whatever he puts his mind to, it turns out just stunning. And he has been trying to get a show in Asheville. He's been trying to display himself. And so he brought with him his tool, his palette,
Right.
and he brought with him a gallery guide. And it's a shame you can't see it up close because there's like X's through everything. He's gone to every gallery in Asheville, showed his work, and none of them will support the Asheville artists. They support the fine artists. They support the really elite, affluent ones that cater to, very upper class type of clientele. And he was just looking for somebody to just say, you got talent, let me just, so he couldn't find a gallery. And, I think now he's actually exhibiting at coffee shops, and he exhibited at Club 11, Above Scandals, and some other places. So when he did come back, he said that, he had moved forward in the past 6 to 7 months. He hadn't given up. And I was like, good for you, because he definitely has talent. But it really spoke to me a lot about what that issue was in Asheville, about the issue that we have these artists that we love.
And it's like, where do we go? And
they're talking about developing the Riverside Arts District now and starting to, it's one of the things in the downtown master plan that's going to be discussed is connecting West Asheville with downtown Asheville and taking those 300 acres in the Riverside Arts District and starting to develop them into condos and restaurants and all that kind of business. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. This is Aurora Moon. This is his sister, and she's just like Goldilocks adorable. Just adorable.
Yeah, what's she?
She's holding a Hello Kitty doll.
Whoops.
That was
Sorry
her.
about
That was her.
A Hello Kitty?
A Hello Kitty.
Cool.
Her little stuffed animal that she sleeps with every night. So, just adorable.
Oh,
Too cute for
beautiful.
words.
Yeah.
So
You are really good. You capture the essence of a person.
well, that's my.
You really do.
As a photographer, and like this is something I had to because I was a documentary photographer before I went into portraiture, and so it's a portrait documentary more than a photo documentary. But when I was studying and learning about portraiture and talking to other portrait artists and reading Susan Sontag's essay on photography, the goal is to capture the essence of the other person, but to also capture an essence of how you see them. So the real goal as an artist photographer is to capture a little piece of both of you and exhibit that. So I try and see the best in everybody, and thus I try and capture the best in everybody. I could do the portraits where people are looking forlorn and desperate, even the homeless people that I have documented in the process. I still find that light that is inside of them, because I'll talk with them and I will take pictures until I find it.
Right.
Until I find the one that I'm like, yes, this is your beauty that I can see inside of you.
That's so cool.
So anyways, long story short, I decided to keep going because there's a lot of issues that need to be talked about.
And that's how I found out about you.
And so I put it out there again, and the community helped me raise $2,500 to get a new camera, to get new lenses, and then the Asheville Area Arts Council awarded me one of the regional artist grants, which comes from all the arts councils in the area, and that gave me enough to sublease a studio space in the Wedge Gallery. So if there's anyone out there who's still interested in being a participant, I have 4 days left. April 1st is the last day, and April 1st right now is completely open. I will take anybody if you want to get your picture taken.
Okay, you hear that?
No fool.
Tell them how to.
April 1st, and this man right here, our cameraman, it's really funny. This man here is a face of Asheville. He's like one of the top 5 people who was in my list. I was like, I gotta get this person because he is that eclectic diversity that I love, that makes Asheville that sense of you can be whoever you want to be here, and you can be comfortable in that. You don't have to feel like you have to fall into any sort of niche. You can just be you, and other people will accept you as who you are.
And if anybody ever tries to get to know Chris, you'll find out that he's quite intelligent. So don't judge a book by the cover.
Definitely.
I mean, that's a prime example of.
So I kept trying to find Chris in the parks, in Pritchard Park and whatnot. And the day after the burglary, I'm sitting on my porch, kind of just sitting there thinking over it, gestating, do I continue or not? And he walks by my house, and I'm like, oh, how good. The moment
Unlike the bad penny, I have a way of showing up.
What was
Chris,
that?
we're not coming in
I said
again.
I'm like the bad penny. I have a way of showing
your
up.
mic isn't picking up in here. Do you have it on?
Yeah. Hold on.
Well, so anyways, April 1st, and Christopher has to attend.
Okay, now in case, all right, today is March the 21st, 2008. So if you're not watching it live, or if it's not that, anyhow, that's what today is. So 4 days.
There's 4 days left. Now I know this Sunday is full. Easter Sunday, surprisingly, is full of portrait participants. I think I still have a few slots left over on the next Tuesday and next Sunday, and then the last Tuesday is April 1st. It's completely open, and even if you go to the Faces of Asheville website and you try and sign up and it says that I'm full, come anyways. On April 1st, it's a walk-in. Anybody can come in, anybody.
Okay.
And if you want to be a part of the project, please be a part of the project, because that's what it is. It's about documenting it. And this time, one of the good things that came out of it is I lost all the portraits. But I was able to gain from that experience and
And
use
a
that
lot
as
of the people
stepping
came
stone.
back?
Many of the people came back. Not all of them, but many of them came back. And in that process, I decided I needed to step up the documentary a little bit. And so I send everybody home with a letter that says, thanks for participating, first of all.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me what I forgot at home.
But it also talks about really having met those first 108 people who helped me learn so much about Asheville and myself, that Asheville has a real opportunity here. We really do. The world is changing. Cities are going to continue to grow. If you look at how urban development is happening, people are moving into cities. People want to be able to walk to work. People want to be able to walk to organic grocery stores. People want to have that healthy style of life. And cities are going to grow. Asheville City is at that point where we have a critical mass. We have to grow. That's why the downtown master plan is, now under works. We've hired this company from Boston to come in. They're going to try and help us figure out what this master plan is going to be. But nonetheless, what I learned when I was doing this project is there's 3 different types of people.
What's interesting though is we're hiring outsiders to decide how our city's going to be.
This is true, but we also have a downtown advisory committee, and those are people who are locals, and those people are the people who are going to be directly communicating with them. And thankfully, because of my involvement in this project and learning and meeting so many people and having people tell me what their issues and their concerns are, they allowed me to have one of the spots on that advisory committee.
Oh,
Well,
cool.
you might want to advise them things like black boxes don't work.
Like the spare change for a real change? Yeah, that's a ridiculous. I mean, it's not ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's idealistic, and I haven't seen anything come out of it.
Well, because
except for
they were never in the position of being. So
Yeah.
how can they?
I feel like it was a facade of a stamp on a much larger problem of what is.
How can a city do what? How can a city stand there and say it's against the law for me as an ordained minister, according to what the Panhandle Ordinance is written, it is against the law for me to stand in the corner asking for money for the poor. Yet they themselves violate their own law by doing that. They didn't pass a special ordinance giving them any variance to do that.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Plus, it's insanity to think that that's going to help in any way, because why do panhandlers panhandle? For the things that the churches and the ministries won't give them. Name one ministry in this town that'll buy a homeless person a 40.
No, they won't. I mean,
a pack of cigarettes.
Right, and where I live, like I already said, I was broken into. It has a lot of high traffic. I live right next to the skate park. And a lot of times walking home, I will meet homeless people. And from my experience in Reading, I can talk to anybody and see them instantly as a person and have a conversation with them. And I've adopted several homeless guys and like let them sleep on my porch and whatnot. I think a bigger issue here is if you read the Mountain Express this week, the Zacchaeus house is being forced to close, and that's one of the most. It's a bigger issue of we have a lot of homeless people here. All of them seem to be, for some reason or other, having a hard lot in life that doesn't allow them to necessarily contribute back into society. They're too touched to be able to work, but they're not touched enough to be dangerous. They're not touched enough to be locked away, and that's what they have to do to get care, is be so dangerous that they have to be locked away. So in the meantime, they're left to just suffer on the streets in the cold, without food. The missions are dangerous here in Asheville. I've had several homeless people tell me that that's where they get their backpacks are stolen, and that's everything you own is on your backpack. So if that gets stolen or ransacked, like you're really SOL. So there's a lot more issues of learning how to have them incorporate into society, but how does society incorporate with them? How can we learn to see them as people and not just these urchins that are just kind of, stuck onto the walls of Pritchard Park? I mean,
I think that's something else that we better, because we're getting lower on time. I mean, time flies when we're having fun around
That's
here.
right.
So I want people
relative.
to understand, or I eavesdrop and I heard her talking about a potluck dinner. It's like,
Potluck dinner,
wait,
okay.
cool.
Sorry, so let me get back into the next stage. So April 1st is the last day of taking pictures. If you want to be involved with that, that's great. After that, I have a year of post-production, and the next step of the process is I've gathered all these letters, hopefully, from my participants that tell me what they like and dislike, and now it needs to start being that part of taking ownership of the problems, starting taking ownership of the solutions. So for 10 months, I'm going to be in post-production. I'm going to solicit help from the community. This is a community project. The community supports it enough to give me the money to come out to consistently talk to me about the issues that they see in Asheville. What I would need is I need certain people to help head up certain parts of the project, to take ownership of certain little parts. I need somebody to help me curate the exhibit, somebody to be my artistic eye, somebody to help me set up the book, somebody to help me organize the potlucks. So what I want to do is every month I'm going to have a potluck, and I'll advertise it.
Did you find out where, or
I haven't. This is
still
all
coming
still,
into?
It's
Well,
all,
it's still like my potluck.
yeah,
that it's like okay,
it's very vapid right now. It's just kind of coming into its own, and the solutions will find themselves as they do.
Right.
Well,
But
why not combine the two?
But that's what we are doing.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Collaboration is always better than one person trying to go it alone.
Yeah, and that's why, instead of doing the potluck dinner for May 4th of this year, I would still like to, do something but Jenny was going to start doing her potlucks in June
or July. I'm not sure yet. Yes, because actually it is June. June is when it's going to start.
Right.
So I kind of have a timeline.
And that's the people coming together. So if anybody's out there and wants to be a part of, do you know, because it was like, okay, first Sunday? Is there a certain day that you've decided?
I haven't decided this yet. It's all, like I said, still. I've got a timeline of that I want to have what happens each month to get me to the final project. But there will be a specific day. It will be highly advertised, I can promise you. And you can also add me on, if you have MySpace, myspace.com/doc_Jen. Be my friend. I'm friendly.
Oh, I have to definitely get you on MySpace.
So, but I post out a lot of stuff through that, and then I also put stuff on Craigslist and through the Mountain Express. That's a good way to always find out what's happening with the project. And through facesofasheville.com, I'll keep people updated through that, and everybody who's a participant will get the email list and everything like that. But each potluck will be centered around one or two specific issues that I want everybody to come and talk about, and just in a very sort of open space forum.
Okay, now the issues, are you going to be posting that
Yes,
this is what
this potluck will be about artists in Asheville and affordable housing. This issue will be about the Asheville Police Department and poverty on the streets. So each time you come to a potluck, we're going to be talking about an issue, and we're going to be talking about potential solutions to it. And in that, I'm going to be hopefully having somebody record it. This is actually all inspired off of a project that Holly Parr, another great, fantastic local artist, did called Dinner with Friends. And what she did is she had people come to her house, and she recorded them, she videotaped them having a conversation about what is this period of shift of change, the end of the world or the apocalypse or what the Mayan prophecy, what is all that business about? So it was just kind of the art of conversation about having people dialogue in a very, not debate, but dialogue. And so that's what these are inspired off of.
Well, then I guess we'll bring the cameras.
Fantastic.
I mean,
so we'll find somebody who can help me record it, and then that's going to be a lot of what's going to go into the thesis that goes into the book, because this is a documentary and portrait documentary and taking pictures of people and having them be an artist and how they exhibit themselves, how they define themselves and their personality, and how we all together are a fantastic, amazing community. But also how, what are the issues of Asheville and how can we save our city? Because like I said, Asheville's at a tipping point. Asheville can become a gentrified city that caters to a tourist class, to second homes, to people who own property here who don't even live in the city, who don't even live in our county. And that's not, I mean, that's your personal right.
I know, and that's me. You know, I live out in Brevard. I love Brevard. I love Brevard.
But that's, I mean, that's different from
I like Asheville too, don't get me wrong.
Right. No, I consider Asheville, when I say Asheville, I mean the greater area of Asheville.
Right. This is just the hub of.
Yeah, it's just like Asheville's the city for the region.
Right.
That people
This is the big city. Yeah. I live in the country.
I love Brevard, but I've had people from Brevard participate. I've had people from Barnardsville participate, people from Weaverville, Canton. I mean, so it really, like, people as far as Greenville, Spartanburg consider themselves part of Asheville.
And she's looking for anybody, everybody. I mean, she's not excluding anyone. So don't think that you're not good enough. Don't think that you are too good.
Yeah, definitely. I've had Carl Mumpower.
Cool.
He was participant number 2. He also participated the first time. He is a real joy. I really highly enjoy Carl Mumpower. I've had Holly Jones. I've had homeless. I've had black, white, gay, lesbian,
and that's
everything.
The whole.
And that's Asheville.
That's what it's all about. It's bringing it together.
It's all of us together.
And that's where that's a start of. I mean, we have to start somewhere. We know that there is a problem. Okay, let's not talk about the problem. Let's talk about the solution.
That's right.
And that's what you're doing.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Tell people how that they can get a hold of you. And in case anybody was wondering, yes, this is being filmed at URTV in Asheville.
Which is a great organization, by the way. Highly support it. Oh,
I mean, public television, you get to produce your own TV show.
That's right.
Yay, there we go.
I don't have a TV. The only reason I would get a TV is for this station.
And there's quite a few people who produce who have gotten cable just for
this station. That's the only reason why I would shell out money to charter cable. So.
Yeah, Asheville is definitely progressive, and we have a lot to show the world about how good it can be.
Definitely,
and taking an
we're ahead of the curve. We really are. I mean, everybody I've met here. I just went to this open space forum about urban development and community design or community sustainability at the Civic Center this week, and every single person that I have met in Asheville that is moving to Asheville is ahead of the curve of America and of the world. Like, really, we are creative thinkers. We are people who are worried about our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren going to have a planet that they can live on.
Right.
I mean, we are concerned with the value which is more than money, and that is, and that's great.
And that's probably one of the reasons that I'm here.
Yeah, we have an amazing opportunity ahead of us, and so by talking about the solutions, it's my goal that we will prevent that tipping point of going towards this gentrified city that caters to, that turns into an Aspen, Colorado atmosphere. And a lot of people say, well, we can become the next Portland. Well, I say, let's be Asheville.
That's it.
Let's be Asheville.
Yeah.
Let's have our own identity, and we can definitely learn from Portland, San Francisco, Chicago, Santa Fe, Madison, Wisconsin. We can take little pieces of all those places that we've learned about, things that are successes and things that don't work so well, and make our own city that is that we take ownership of.
I'm gonna suggest the first Sunday. It's like
the first Sunday of every month.
The first Sunday of every month,
because
it's like, okay, well, look at how many holidays are. Don't forget Super Bowl Sunday, or at the end of the month.
Yes, let's do the first Sunday.
Because that'll be easier to remember. First Sunday.
That's it. We got it.
Yeah. Now, when are we going to start it in June, or do you want to do it in May?
Actually, I will be. Well, we might start it because I'll be gone the first Sunday of June. My grandmother is taking me on a trip to Alaska.
Oh.
So I can't do it the first Sunday of June. But we can talk
Well,
after
yeah, I
this
was even
and
talking
make
about
this-
doing the first, I mean, in May, but I mean,
Yeah.
you want to do July? But then July, that's.
Well, I have
is that gonna be the
after
4th?
this I have a little kind of a kind of agenda mapped it out. So we'll talk after
Okay, we will be sure to let you know.
Definitely.
And thanks for hanging with us. This is GloLady TV on URTV, and we just got the 3-minute sign.
this. Thank you, Asheville. Yeah.
Thanks so much for
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, thank you.
This
thank
is
you for
Jenny
inviting me.
Bowen of Faces
much.
of Asheville,
Right.
and I'm sure that you're going to be seeing her again since we're going to be doing another season. And next week we have Radavi. She's going to be finishing out the season.
Outstanding.
And then after that, I'm not quite sure what the new scheduling is. Hopefully I'll get to stay Friday nights, but there's a good possibility that we're going to be going into, or we're going to be airing at 6:30. That way it gives Kurt enough of time to do what he has to do to, you know. So
Make
if
what
it works
happens.
for him, hey, it works for me. And oh, that's our theme song, James Crouch down in Florida, the James Crouch Band on MySpace, if anybody wants to check out his music. And you want to...
Thank you so much. If you need to contact me, it's 828 Ice Lord. Ice Lord. I swear.
Ice Lord, yeah, that's the number that I had done on there earlier.
It's 423-5673 or www.facesofasheville.com.
Yeah, and MySpace is
Doc_Jen. So there you go.
Doc Jen. How'd you get a Doc Jen?
I was obsessed with Doc Holliday in high school. I think somehow, somewhere in my ancient history, I was enthralled with the Old West, and so I kind of took on that persona of the Doc of the Old West. So, and I'm an herbalist, so I'm all about healing people.
Ooh,
So
way
I just
cool.
kept the Doc.
Way cool.
It was my nickname for many, many years.
And that's a big part of.
Yeah.
See, we'll have to have you back on just to talk about that.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that's a whole show in itself.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It was
most
great.
definitely.
Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm so
You don't have no rollout credits. I'm going to give you some of mine.
Oh, okay. This is the Mad Monks rollout credits. Cool.
Yeah.
My sponsors. Here's my head.
Mad Monk of Mockers.
Thanks, guys. I had fun.